Hello, hello, and welcome back, beautiful humans, to the Aligned Human Project podcast, where consciousness meets creation and alignment becomes a way of life. I'm your host, Dawn Elgin, and today we're talking about something that hits home right now for many of us, and that is the holidays. The pressure, the expectations, the emotions we thought we healed, and they're suddenly resurfacing. The family patterns, the financial stress, the loneliness, even when surrounded by people. This time of year brings joy, yeah, but it also brings three core struggles I see in almost every client, every single year: emotional overload, boundary collapse, and identity regression. And the good news? Field and Form gives us a clear path to navigate every single one of these with coherence, with clarity, and with sovereignty. So today, we're walking through the top three holiday struggles, the Field and Form laws that address each one, the practical actions you can take right now, and a closing alignment practice to regulate your field for the season. So let's take a breath and let's do this together. Welcome to the Aligned Human Project podcast, where consciousness meets creation and hustle gives way to harmony. I'm Dawn Elgin, contrarian soul guide, spiritual CEO, and founder of Practical Spiritualism. This is a space where we explore what it truly means to be human, aligned, awakened, and in flow with the field of life itself. Together, we'll bridge science and spirit, energy and embodiment, purpose and prosperity, so you can remember who you are beneath the programming and reclaim the power to create in full alignment with your soul. Because the next evolution of humanity isn't out there, it's in here. This is the Aligned Human Project. All right, so let's jump right into the three main struggles that we deal with. So struggle number one, emotional overload. It sounds like I'm overwhelmed, or I'm drained, I'm reactive. People think holiday stress is about logistics, and it's not. It's about emotional saturation. Too many expectations, too many stimuli, too many people's energy in your field, too many obligations stacked on an already exhausted nervous system. And this creates emotional incoherence, which can look like irritability, shutdown, anxiety, stress eating, emotional withdrawal, overreacting to little things, and guilt for not being festive enough. Field and Form teaches us that the law of power, presence equals power. When you're overwhelmed, your energy isn't present. It's leaking either into the future, which looks like anticipation or anxiety, the past, old emotional imprints or depression, or into the pain body, which is our conditioning, our habitual patterns. The law of reflection, as within, so without. When your inner world is chaotic, the outer world mirrors chaos right back to you. So when we feel overwhelmed, the world and those around you are overwhelming. The same goes for when we're feeling lonely. We will start to notice things around us that amplify that feeling. Maybe it's seeing other people with people. Maybe it is feeling like there's no one to call, even though 3 people have messaged you today and you didn't message them back. So we're always reflecting in the outer world. We're the ones creating our life, and the world around us is reflections of what's our inner world. So often when we're seeking something outside of ourselves, we don't realize that the way to actually heal it is to go inside of ourselves. So let's talk about some practical holiday alignment, because the problem's one thing, but how do we deal with it? So first, I always recommend the sacred pause. The sacred pause is like a micro pause before entering any family gathering. We breathe into our belly just to reclaim our presence. And then we name what we're feeling internally before we engage externally. Put time limits around social interactions and step outside to regulate your field every 60 to 90 minutes, just to take a breath. And your coherent mantra would be, I return to myself. My presence sets the tone. So now let's jump into struggle number 2, boundary collapse. I said yes when I meant no, which also sounds like I'm resentful and I'm overstretched. The holidays have a unique way of dragging us back into bad habits, people pleasing, overfunctioning, performing old roles, guilt driven decisions, saying yes out of obligation and not alignment. Field Inform teaches us the law of dominion, radical self responsibility, equal sovereignty. Your boundaries are not about controlling others, they're about taking responsibility for your own energy. And then there's also the law of authorship, which is choice is participation. Every yes or no is a spell that you cast into the field. The law of flow means alignment over control. You don't need to control outcomes or reactions. You only need to stay aligned with your truth. So, the practical holiday alignment, before replying to anything, pause and feel. Ask, is this aligned with my values? If it's not aligned, your answer's no. And create energetic boundaries, time, space, as well as exit points. And scripture knows ahead of time so you don't collapse under pressure. So, an aligned boundary could be, that won't work for me this year, but thank you so much for thinking about me. And your mantra would be, my boundaries are my devotion to myself. Now, before we jump into struggle 3, I want to hit something on boundaries. Because often what we think of as boundaries are we place boundaries around our wounds. So the old hurts that your mom or your uncle might bump into. And so we create these boundaries so that we don't get triggered. But that is actually the dysfunctional version of boundaries. So that can be great when we're still in a place of not dealing with all of our stuff. But our job is to let go. As I tell every client that walks in my office or meets me in virtual, you are your only project. Your boundaries are not for other people. They're for you. So if you have a boundary around respect and your mom or your uncle or family members are disrespectful, then it's for you to hold the boundary. To them, they might not have any problems with what they're saying or doing. It's for you to deal with. And so that might be that you step out of a conversation when they behave that way. It may be that you ask their intentions when they are behaving in certain ways. It may be that you just take a step back and you have to say, this is who they are. In Mel Robbins' words, let them. Let them do what they're going to do. How are you going to respond? And boundaries are about that. Our boundaries are about our values. So it's important that we know our values. That being said, I will put a link in the show notes for my free values worksheet so that you can figure out what are my values, knowing that your values are going to evolve over time because your values are what is in alignment with who you are today. And so where 10 years ago when I started with my values were freedom, courage, and wholeheartedness. And now my values are courage, curiosity, intuition, integrity, and sovereignty. And they've evolved over time. So what are your values? This will help you know what it is you need to do or not do to stay in alignment. Your boundaries are for you. They're for you and to help you stay in alignment. We can't change other people's behaviors. And other people don't have the same values as us. And so they might have a value of intellect, which would directly have an opposition to my value of intuition. And so it's important for us to recognize this. So while they may go on intellect and they feel completely fine arguing with me over what feels like intuitively a yes or a no, that's on them. And I can love that for them. But for me, my intuition is gold and it is my core value. So I do not negotiate it ever. So When we're moving into these family pieces, it's important for us to go in with this level of knowledge. What are my values? Based on my values, what are my boundaries? And how will I handle a situation that's not in alignment with them? This allows us to remain grounded, present, as well as in our adult seat. So rather than getting pushed into the victim or pulled into the child, can we hold our center? Your values will help you understand your boundaries, and that will help you stay in alignment. All of this helps us stay grounded. So on to struggle 3, identity regression. Why do I act like my 8-year-old self around my family? Or why do my wounds feel louder or right at the surface? This is a big one. During the holidays, we don't just revisit family. We revisit old identities. The child self, the people pleaser, the achiever, the peacekeeper, the invisible one, the responsible one. Family systems pull us back into familiar, energetic roles, even if we've outgrown them. So, Field and Form teaches us through the law of becoming, conscious creation is always constant. So, just because you played a role once doesn't mean that you must continue to play it. You get to have new beliefs, new thoughts, new emotions, and new behaviors. The law of paradox, duality is the teacher. You can love your family and outgrow the version of yourself that they know. The law of divine intelligence, grace and guidance are cofactors. You can ask the field to support a new identity. You don't have to hold it alone. You never have been. So the practical holiday alignment, first, name the version of you that shows up. And name up the version of you that wants to show up. And then choose consciously to enter as your aligned self. To do this, we want to establish internal cues, hand on heart, come back to truth. And let discomfort be the indicator that you're evolving, not failing. And the mantra here would be, I choose who I am in every moment. Now, this is a good place for us to take a pause and a real quick word from our favorite sponsor, me. I want to tell you about something I am so excited about. It's called Align Your Life, and it's my new year-long immersion where we journey through the 12 laws of co-creation, one each month, in life, in business, in relationships, and in healing. You'll get 45 minutes of deep teaching and then live coaching love seats where you can bring what's real for you right now. Links are in the show notes, and right now you can join at the founder's rate of $9.97. This is your invitation to stop just learning alignment and start living it. Thank you so much for sticking with me. So far, we have talked about 3 major reasons for misalignment during the holidays: emotional overload, boundary collapse, and identity regression. So now let's talk about putting it all together. Field first, form follows. So every holiday struggle is an invitation to practice coherence. So emotional overload, we shift to presence. Boundary collapse, we shift to sovereignty. Identity regression, conscious authorship. Field first, form always follows. Emotional overload, we want to move into presence. So what do I mean by this? So when we're starting to feel triggered, we're feeling emotionally overloaded. This is a perfect place to take a really deep breath, and maybe it means going to the bathroom or stepping outside for a moment. To come into presence, the easiest way is to follow our breath. We pause, we feel, we realign. We don't negate our emotions, we don't belittle them. We're allowed to feel what we feel, but emotion itself only has a 90-second lifespan if we do not attach a reason or resist it or grip and cling on to it. So, what I mean by this is we would take the moment and we would pause, take a breath. I usually do this in live time with people right in front of me, and it would look like this. You know what? I notice myself getting pretty triggered right now, and I got some big emotions coming up. So I'm going to take a step back and pause for a moment. I will actually do this in live time with family. Now, if you have family that are narcissists, that are attackers, then I want you to consider instead we would take that pause and we just go to the bathroom for a moment. It might sound like, you know what? I'm going to walk to the bathroom and I'll be right back and join you for this. And we just take the moment to really ground into ourselves. It's rare for me to leave. Now, I've been doing this for a minute. And so after 12 years of slowly but surely working through all of these things to get to what I do in lifetime and action now, it has been a bit of a trial and well, sometimes failure. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Now I can ground into myself at such a level that I can hold. And so to do this, it means you need to be comfortable with not actually speaking. So when somebody behaves terribly, I often don't respond. I often will sit and take the deep breath, and I'll slightly smile, and then I'll just stare at them until it gets super uncomfortable. And then I just let them deal with themselves. Or I'll say something like, that was an option. Or interesting. Usually there's a few words that I have where as soon as somebody hears it, they know there's a lot more meaning behind it. And so finding the one that you can hold and sit with will be important. And know that the first one might not be your winner. It may be that you need to try a few out and see what is going to be your way of holding your center to get really, really present with them, looking and seeing beyond their words into their own struggles that they are perpetuating out onto you. It means getting present within yourself and feeling your feels. What's the emotion rising right now? Can you let that just roll and not engage with it? Can you allow yourself to be in your body, to feel your seat, to feel the back of your thighs in the chair, to feel your feet on the ground? Can you get present for a moment? This is the key to allowing emotional overload to flow all the way through. So boundary collapse, moving it into sovereignty. Remember, sovereignty means to no longer be pushed or pulled by our old traumas and dramas, to be making our choices from a place of centeredness, from a place of love, from coherence. And so when our boundaries collapse, it comes because of one of the big four: safety, security, belonging, and love. So usually when we have a boundary collapse, it's because we're worried that we're going to either lose one of those four things or not get one of them. When we come into a place of sovereignty, it's like we remember safety, security, belonging, and love exist within me. I need to feel safe with me, and I can only do that when I'm present and honest with myself. Security comes from the same thing. I need to have my own back. Belonging and love, they come back to me. It's my job to belong to myself. It's my job to love myself. It's your job to love yourself. You're the only human you were given to take care of. So it's always a place for us to consider when our boundaries are starting to collapse. What am I trying to get from them that I need to give to myself? That is the step into sovereignty. Identity regression into conscious authorship. So what that means is instead of regressing back into the inner child, to regress back into the victim, to regress into a former version of ourselves, we want to become a conscious author of our life, which means that we are making a choice. Again, we come to the sacred pause to take the breath. And the quick question would be, who do you choose to be in this situation? It's a powerful question that we can ask ourselves. Who do you choose to be? Because in this story, the prince and princess, they save themselves. Remember, field first, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and the form follows. When your field is coherent, you move through the holidays as your aligned, sovereign, embodied self, not the conditioned self you once had to be. This is alignment in the world. This is what it means to be an aligned human. Let's finish today's episode with a closing alignment practice. Just a quick 60-second holiday reset. So you can save this or come back to it at any point. We want to place our hand on our heart or fingertips, and this just brings our awareness out of our head and into our heart. We take a nice breath, slow through the nose, pause at the top, and slow, longer exhale. And this just helps shift us into a state of rest and reset. So take it easy. And then whisper to yourself, I am safe. I am sovereign. I am present. I choose coherence. Let your nervous system settle. Let your chest soften. And let your field expand. This is your anchor. This is your power. This is how you stay aligned through the season. And remember, pause, take the breath, feel, be present with yourself, and align with your values, your desires, and who you choose to be today. Until next time, you are the field. You create the form. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to remember yourself. Because when you align with your truth, everything else begins to align with you. If this episode sparked something inside you, hit follow or subscribe and share it with someone walking their own path of awakening. And if you're ready to go deeper, you'll find free resources, programs, and community spaces waiting for you at practicalspiritualismco.com. Remember, alignment isn't a place you reach. It's a practice you live. So keep pausing, keep feeling, keep aligning. You are the field. You shape the form.